Well, in September of 2017, Barbuda suffered a devastating hurricane that basically damaged 95% of the homes on this island.
To me, I tell most persons, to me it was almost like a horror movie. To me, like you were watching a movie, but it wasn't. And for a while, I thought it wasn't going to stop because to me, the time that we got it, to me, it felt like eternity. And I think it's one of the experiences I would not even wish for my enemies or who don't like me to go through.
The fisher folks, we call them, they had their boats damaged and that was part of their livelihood. So without that, they won't be able to feed themselves and families. So the Salvation Army distributed 6 fishing boats and 11 outboard engines.
As many of you know, the fishing sector is the largest non-governmental industry employer on the island. So we wanted to target that group of the economy to support them with recovering from some of the damages, the impact and disruptions of Hurricane Irma.
This type of aid is sustainable in that anytime at all you provide aid that builds businesses, provide training, modernizing the operations, it is something that is, the trickle-down effects are very, very strong. So it helps the families, it helps the entire community. And when the fishermen begin to export again, it will help the country overall in its earnings of foreign exchange. So what is going on here with the Red Cross is very visionary, it's very long-term, and it's very great for the entire country of Antigua and Barbuda.
To document Hurricane Irma is really important to me because that's the first time this island has ever been that devastated by a hurricane. I was here for Hurricane Lewis. That was bad, but it was nothing compared to what Irma did. And I thought to myself, after this, Barbuda will never ever be the same again.
We want to build back better. We want to build back stronger.
Because we are futuristically anticipating and looking at more fierce storms. And it's a wake-up call for us to use better engineering and, but just as like I said, so many things to look at the moment. When you're starting from this stage, it's really a good time to look at all of it.
And then as to the questions of how to rebuild, where to rebuild, who to rebuild for, is it an opportunity for people to come in, land grab and redevelop for not the people who were there, but for others?
Barbudans in the past are environmentalists. The way we do things before, if we go fish or for lobster, and there's 2 lobsters, we'll catch one and leave the other. And that in itself will show us that in the future something will be there for the children. And the same thing we do with the conch and the same thing. So we're preservationists even and we're learning because our foreparents has taught us these things, to leave something for the future.
I think the whole idea of making Barbuda green is that in terms of energy, they would want to use solar energy to really give that power to that country. They want to also enhance the whole question of food production and food security on the island, and to make the island more sustainable on its own and more independent and self-reliant.
At one time, Barbuda was known for the best area based on their soil. I don't know if it's because of the salt that is in the soil. For ground peanut, what we call groundnut, they used to have the best, the sweetest, the biggest.
One of the things that we explored as part of the Barbuda Research Complex was introducing aquaponics to Barbuda and have the secondary school students actually not just read about aquaponics but have a hands-on experience. Hydroponics and aquaponics can be something that can produce food for the island.
I don't think that we are discussing them very well as the way forward. I think that we need to sit back and look at how we should move forward in these areas, because it's obvious that it's needing to happen, but it's kind of taking its own sweet time in getting there. So I think that is an area that has to be readdressed.
Victoria Park has always been an important place for the people of St. John's. We were invited to assist with the expansion of the park. It's located in the center of a big city called St. John's, which is the capital of Antigua and Barbuda. And I was lucky enough to work in the National Archives with Mr. Joseph Prosper, who's the curator there, the director. And in there was a document left from 1848 about the need for the citizens of St. John's to have the ability to enjoy a safe environment, essentially a clean environment. At that time, his language was talking about a place of non-malarial environment.
Going right up to this road on a Sunday afternoon, certain Sunday afternoons, Coates Band would travel from here, and I was their mascot, go to the Botanical Garden, and under the Botanical there's a gazebo there, where he would play once a week, and sometimes you had other bands.
It's where the Botanical Garden is located, so when you talk to Antiguans, they know the Botanical Garden, they don't know this larger Victoria Park, and it'll include the public library, the archives building, a series of cricket fields, so it's a public park. And any public park is all about free space.
And working with older people who have memories that go back 70 years of what the park was like, the feeling of the park, the character of the park is really what we're trying to work with.
So we're going to make it a big thing. It's going to be a place that people of this country are going to want to come. They're going to want to come for half day, hour day with their children, and have a good time.
Right over the cricket field, you see the Victoria Park. It was an outstanding little design park, and most of it was done by Warnford, who was an agriculturalist and also a botanist.
The thing is that history, heritage, and culture are very important aspects of any one's life or any generation's life. It is said that a people without a history is like a tree without roots. And we in the Caribbean, because of from where we have come, we have a very rich history with the British, with the French, and all of these. And it is very important for us to protect, preserve, and pass on aspects of our history to the future generation, for them to have an appreciation from where we have come to where we are now. And it will help them to better plan as to where we should go in the future.
One of my favorite stories about Government House was shared by Jules Walter, who is an older person, a senior, who was an actor. And he described the period of a man called Lord Oliver Baldwin of Bewdley, who was the governor to the Leeward Islands from 1948 to 1950. And Governor Baldwin, much like the Governor General today, ironically, brought people together. In his day, he was bringing people of color to Government House. And today, the Governor General is bringing people from Asia, white people, Latino people, people from India, together to celebrate the beauty of Antigua and Barbuda and to work together to help preserve the history and culture.
The old folks, they use the building as memory lane. They would remember, and they can walk with their grandchildren before they pass on. They would walk here and say, well, I remember when Queen Elizabeth, when she came and walked around, and I remember when she sat in that chair or walked around these gardens. So these are the things that people can share. And lately with Prince Harry's coming over and Prince Charles, people who have been here when they've been here can have that memory, so then they can share that with their kids.
And during the preparation for the inauguration of the government house, I was lucky enough to be able to spend quiet time, private time in rooms in that house. I could sit in the silence and just listen to the history whisper to me. Moving times. A house that spoke, and a house that spoke poetry.
Government House, when we came here, was in the need of repairs. And so we had to look around to see how we were going to raise the funds and we were going to develop the manpower to have it restored. And so we reached out to the superintendent of Her Majesty's prison, and they agreed to have the prisoners come to assist us. And then we were able to get the prisoners to work along with the contractor who got the job to do the wall, and they have been working out splendidly in terms of helping us with the restoration of Government House.
There's something about this place, there's something that's built into the fabric of the artifacts, the society, the people, the way that they go about problem solving, that I think could be a template for some very broken systems.
The Governor General, he always give way hope and give way ideas too. Each time he pass across, yeah.
And one thing I can say to that, he don't look upon us as a criminal or a prisoner.
No.
He look upon us as a human being. If he pass in close door, he come and shake our hand. How you do? Good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah,
I can say that about him.
Must give you thanks for that.
Very generous to us. And he helped me to revive myself, make I know myself better. I know myself better. And this program prove a lot to me, because in time to come, I can look at my grandchildren and say, Government House, you see that palm tree? I will plant that palm tree. And the work that I do, I love it. Okay, keep me fit, and it keep my mind focused from making mind wander all over and create a lot of things. The program is very helpful to me.
So I was quite fortunate to spend some time with some inmates at Antigua who were actually working on the renovation of the house. And I watched one gentleman, actually walked side by side with him as he explored what looked to be a mound of rubble, just thrown away things. And he went through that and he found things that were actually used in that house. Items that had been used in the kitchen, items that had been used in the gardens, found garden tools. And there he was, going through thrown away objects to bring that house back to life. What a moment. What a man. What a memory.
Sometimes you go left when you should go right, but you got to keep going. Can't give up the fight, no, no. Life is like a maze. There's no easy way out. Sometimes the way seems so clear. Sometimes you're so confused. Life is like a maze. At times you feel so lost. Don't know where to turn. Don't know where you're going.
I was in prison for 3 years. You're locked up in there. Your mind is locked. You're not focusing on anything, it's like you're wandering. Now, when you come down to anywhere with the government also environment, and they bring you out to work, it's like you're seeing heaven, which is out here. Your mind you start smile, you start think because you smell fresh air, which is on the outside.
The prisoners would be paid some sort of small per diem, so that at the end of the day, when they come out of prison, they have something to fall back on.
We've been working with the prison reform program to clean up the stone, so they're very willing and very interested to be part of this renovation. They've been laying all the bricks that you see that have been carefully laid out. They've been cleaning this up, and they've been working on all of that.
And it's like, oh, I went out today and I work at government house and it was at peace, you know, these flowers. I see my auntie, she waved to me, say, his mind, let's go back at ease. So he feel comfortable, you know, so he wouldn't find himself getting in any problems so easy. Because you know what, I have a program to go to. And every me to go to the program is a smile every day for me.
Me having a daughter while in jail opened up my eyes to a lot of things. I just want an opportunity to go back out and fulfill, because I didn't know my father. Up to this day, I don't know his name, how he looked, where he's from. I don't want that for my daughter.
Since my imprisonment, I realized a lot of young persons under the age of 25, 35, in prison with no formal education. So I want to give them hope and know that you can come out and be something better.
And also, they will be receiving training while they're contributing so that they can develop skills that will help to make them more employable and to fit back into society more easily.
Well, the idea really truthfully was to try and create environmental activists. And so it was suggested by Molly Johnson that we work through the format of Zoom conferencing.
I kind of like changed the way I was living. I stopped drinking out of plastic water bottles.
So that we can prepare for natural disasters.
Reduced some traffic limitations so that sometimes
like climate change and like saving the earth.
The main island of our state is So if you reach a height
I
enough
want to
area,
commend you all for what you're doing and for linking up with our school children here in Antigua and Barbuda. It shows what technology can do.
And so the idea was to find high school students through the Halo Foundation, through a lot of heavy lifting on the part of Lady Williams and her assistant Cuthbert Forbes, to find students in Antigua and Barbuda who would like to speak to students from the island of Manhattan and from the island of Venice.
The whole question of the environmental justice as a civil right is what we take to Biennale Architectural Gallery this year. The global community is very much aware of Barbuda and its challenges after Hurricane Irma last year. The challenges not only with the hurricane, but global warming and changing in global weather patterns. And so we bring this to the global community for its attention.
The pursuit of environmental justice is a pursuit of equity in how the impacts of environmental issues are felt, whether that's pollution or the siting of landfills and industrial sites, or the impacts of major hurricanes that they did not contribute to. The people who aren't causing problems shouldn't be hurt by them.
As one of the students said, it's our Earth, it's our planet, and while we may be on these three very different and seemingly faraway islands, one Earth, one cause, one love. So that was very powerful.
Everyone deserves a safe space to live.
Yeah.
And I think just fighting for that place is the whole idea.
And the roof was like shaking,
and my mother had the door open, and in the front room, rooftop in the front room came off and dropped in the house. So my mother hold me and my nephew and pull us out of the room. At the same time we came out, everything just dropped in. I lost my home and I lost one of my family members. So it was hard for me.
You got to keep trying again and again. Life is like a maze. There's no easy way out. Sometimes the way seems so clear. Sometimes you're so confused. Life is like a maze. At times you seem so lost. Don't know where to turn. Don't know where you're going. Life is like a maze. There's no easy way out. Sometimes the way seems so clear. Sometimes you're so confused. Life is like a maze. At times you feel so lost.